Well, here I am at work. I'm just gonna put somebody on the spot. So who's the resident expert here, boys?
On what?
Oh, how about MDF? Pulp? This is my turn to tell you about me and what makes me tick, where I come from, and a little bit about how I got here with Miriam. She did a really good job of her video last week. I actually enjoyed it and learned a couple of things, believe it or not. And we've been together for coming up on 13 years. Married almost, well, about 7.5. So maybe 12? Yeah, it was May 2008. At least I remember the month and year. So a little bit about me. I grew up in northern British Columbia, a small town called Fort Nelson. I really liked it there. My parents ended up splitting when I was 10, so I spent my teen years basically 1 year in Fort Nelson, 1 year in the Lower Mainland. I didn't mind that. I actually enjoyed it because I was meeting new friends every year and everything was going okay. I ended up graduating from Centennial High School in Coquitlam after quitting high school for a couple of years because I knew everything when I was 17, of course, and well, things just didn't turn out the way they were supposed to. I didn't make my $1 million when I was 17 years old, and ended up going back to school to get my diploma. That's enough about that. What I've also done, I couldn't find any pictures of my high school or any of the schools from when I grew up. I have 0 shots. I even looked up some on the internet and couldn't find any. That's just the way it is. Fort Nelson Secondary School. I didn't graduate there, but I went there for, well, half of my high school career, shall you say. Still got lots of friends in Fort Nelson. They're mostly working in the oil patch, some working in town. Yeah, it's a tiny place. There's a map here that give you an idea of where it is. Roughly 1,600 kilometers north of Vancouver, BC. Just about in the Yukon, but not quite. Here's a couple pictures here. Basically, just my grandparents, Bob and Bee Davies. Well, that was taken in the mid-70s. He's from Winnipeg. She was from East End, Saskatchewan. And then right below that is my dad on the right and his sister, my Aunt Cheryl, on the left. And that's Cheryl and Alex. They live in Port Alberni currently. Cheryl, she worked McMillan Blodell office for quite a few years until she finally retired. My grandfather was basically the head of the fire department for McMillan Blodell on Vancouver Island. My dad, that was his first job, was pulling plywood on the green chain. Might have been pulling lumber, I'm not sure, but he did tell me it was on the green chain and it was the worst job he ever had. So that's why he went back to school and got his BA for teaching. And that is what ended us up in Fort Nelson. He got a job teaching up there in elementary. He taught grades 5 to 7. And to this day, I still have people that he taught who are a few years older than me, like 2, 3, 5 years older than me, still say he was the best teacher they ever had. Because he didn't take any crap. He didn't give you any crap unless you deserved it. And everybody knew it. It's one great thing about my dad. One of many. So like I say, this is my dad here. And he's holding my oldest boy, Mitch, when he's, I guess, just a few weeks old. And then down here, yes, that's me when I was about grade 6, I would say. Somewhere in that ballpark. The long flow. And then over here, that's my 22nd birthday with my Aunt Diane, who has recently passed, just a hair over a year ago now, of peritoneal cancer. So this here is just a couple of pictures of my student cards. This one here is from Westview Middle School in Maple Ridge. That's one of the oldest school pictures I have. Then 2 years later, that's New Westminster. And my graduation picture here from Centennial. You can see the year on the left. The spots in between and beside should be Fort Nelson. But being in Fort Nelson, there was no transit up there, so there was no need for go cards, so we never had student cards that I'm aware of. If anybody did get student cards back then, maybe leave me a note. I never saw one, can't remember ever getting one, but not a big deal. Got the ones for all of my schools in the Lower Mainland. As I was saying earlier, one of my first jobs after getting out of high school, yes, I was 20 when I graduated. It was fun. I got a job on a cruise ship. And these are a few of the places I visited that I really remembered and really liked. Well, we got the U.S. Virgin Islands here. The Cayman Islands, that was fantastic. 12 Mile Beach there, that was great. Ended up in Singapore and Luxembourg. I never did make it there, but I had the sticker from my grandmother, and I just haven't made it there yet. And then Malaysia, of course. And this one is a 1988 motorcycle GP that I was at, and the sticker is in my book, so I'm keeping it because I was there with my uncle. Uncle Alec and his father and cousin. We all went down there to Laguna Seca Raceway in 1988. That was fantastic. And over here is a crew picture, not the whole crew, but basically a picture of the dining room staff, which is roughly 60 guys. It was a 5-star plus dining room, so there was one waiter had anywhere from 6 to 10 guests, and that's all he would deal with, anything they wanted or needed. And that was when I was on the cruise ship Sagafjord, which is newly retired, I do believe. It changed names a couple of times. The Seychelles Islands, got that sticker still. That was my favorite place ever I visited. If you think of Tom Hanks in Castaway, it was that tropical. There was a couple of small schools right on the beach where we had a crew party that they allowed us to have. We played beach volleyball, played in the surf for a couple hours, and it was fantastic. It's pretty much on the equator, maybe just south of the equator, just a little bit, but it was absolutely fantastic, and I don't think I'll ever be able to make it back there, but the memories are locked in. And that was a fantastic time. If you ever get a chance and you want to go somewhere 100% secluded from the rest of the world, Seychelles Islands, it's in the middle of the Indian Ocean, basically 1,000 miles off the coast of Ethiopia. Yeah, it's kind of a sketch area sometimes, but it is beautiful. And the final thing I want to show you is I was looking through my photo album and I found this postcard, which I find very strange. I don't know anybody in Tennessee, or Nashville for that matter, so I'm looking on the back of it, and I find it was from my mom and her boyfriend back, 1988, I believe. When was this? 1990, July 1990. They went on a trip there, and they said they were collecting lots of souvenirs. Went on an all-day boat cruise, and that's one of the things I want to do when I get to Nashville. Well, Tennessee, it's in our future, just not our near future. Here I am at work. I just thought I'd give you a little sneak peek into what I do. The machine behind me is the one I drive most of the time. It's a 22,000 pound Hyundai forklift. We mainly ship lumber here overseas, exporting obviously. We're on night shift right now, so it's a little bit slow at this point in time. We're just waiting on containers to show up so we can ship. We ship lumber here, quite a bit of pulp, and MDF. There's not a lot to show you right now since nothing's moving, since we're waiting on product to show up or waiting on containers to load. Anyways, I thought I'd just take you through a quick walk through the warehouse, give you an idea of what it looks like. Not anything fancy. Right here we've got our clamp forklifts. Once the lights kick on, which are all motion sensors. These are our clamp forklifts, which we load the pulp with. And these big white stacks over here are bundles of pulp. The warehouse is a little bit shy right now. We're probably about, I'd say, 20% capacity. Back to what I do. My main job, since I'm lucky enough to have enough seniority for the most part, I'm not top of the list, of course, but I unload rail cars of lumber. We also unload pulp of from box cars here. There's not a lot to it. So we unload rail cars and trucks, and then we ship everything out in containers, mostly overseas to Japan, China, Korea, occasionally Europe. We have a sister yard in New Westminster that ships strictly by rail car, and they ship most of their product to the States. This yard is mainly West Fraser. The Richmond yard that we have is with Canfor. This here is the start of the yard where we unload our rail cars, and we put them in the sheds here, stack it up, ship it out, and repeat. That's just a sneak peek into what I do. I've been here just over 15 years now, so it's pretty good. I don't mind it. Lots of guys that work with me are pretty good guys. No real bad apples in the group. So it's a fairly good atmosphere for working. Since I'm on lunch, I thought I'd do a little recording and just basically tell you what I did when I was younger to get here. I basically grew up in Fort Nelson, like I showed you on the other map there. That's in northern British Columbia. Played a lot of hockey when I was younger. Played a lot of baseball, and that transitioned into softball and fastball, fast pitch softball. Played some lacrosse when I was younger, and loved football, but I never did play it. But that's okay. Aside from that, I didn't really do too much in the summers, just played sports. I was heavy into sports of all kinds. Pretty much everything except soccer. Too much running for me. I played safer sports like hockey. What brought me to the Lower Mainland was basically I was sick of shoveling snow, living in the north. I had a couple opportunities to move down here to live with my brother. So I moved down and everything was going fine. I started playing baseball with him. When we were growing up, we were actually very tight. My lovely wife so eloquently pointed out that I haven't mentioned my family yet. I was in a long-term relationship before Miriam, which brought me 5 kids. Yes, 5. My oldest is almost 29. She'll be 29 this July. And she is married to Ryan. Her name is Caitlin. And they have 3 children, Tiana, Adrian, and Amelia, who is about a year and a half now, I believe. My next in line is Mitch. He is with Ashley, and they have a son named Thane. And then after that, I've got Kelly, who is almost 23. And the twins, Peyton and Cody just turned 21. So in total, I've got 5 kids. Miriam has 3 kids, so it's 8 there. And we have 8 grandchildren, and our 9th one is on the way next month. So once I do finally retire, I am so looking forward to traveling with Miriam. Just be the 4 of us, Maddie Wrigley, me and her. And then heading down into the States, go to some spring training games, check out a few college football games, some NFL games, some hockey games, take in a little bit of golf. This is pretty much what I'm looking forward to right now. Retirement and staying with sports, playing a little bit, watching even more. Don't forget to subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you like what you see. And ring that bell for notifications. Bye for now. Take care. Okay, so I gotta push the button twice. This button twice.
Sometimes. You have to see what's going on. No,
Okay.
It's recording right now.
Okay. I don't know what else to say. This is going on the gag reel. Over my shoulder there's a picture of the Stanley Cup with a lot of the guys that work here. Picture's quite a few years old. It was just before I started here. Anyways, that is the Holy Grail of hockey, for anyone that does not know. Basically the Super Bowl for football, Stanley Cup for hockey. And hasn't been one here in a long time. But the Canucks are looking good this year. Hopefully they can do something, and even though they're playing in a Canadian bubble with COVID and all the restrictions. Well, that's it for this week. I hope you like what you see. And if you did, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to ring that bell for notifications after you subscribe. And I'm going to try this one again. Cut.